So you're wondering how I built the dirt track that is in front of your eyes right now. Well, I got some good news. I spent my life meticulously time-lapsing all of the footage so you guys can go back and watch it. I'm MLCS Racing Network, and this is how I built the Eldora dirt track. To make a stop-motion racetrack, it all starts with one thing, a piece of wood. But to get that, first we have to clear out the track that was there previously, my Charlotte Motor Speedway track that I built about a month before this. And as you can see, there's a lot of stuff that goes on these tracks. So a lot of people have asked me how I put away my tracks and where I store them. So I decided I'll just leave this bit in so you can see a bit of how I store my tracks and store all my items that go on top of the tracks. So now that we have taken down our previous track, it is time to start clean, start fresh with a new sheet of plywood. This is a 3x4, very thin birch sheet I got from a local hardware store, and that's what I'm using to use as the base for this track. So you can see, first things first, I'm going to take my pencil and a couple of cars and just try and figure out what I want to do with the surface, how I want to lay it out to make a cohesive layout, a cohesive circle, something as a base for the rest of this track. So as you can see, I'm going to continue lining out these lines with some ruler, and I'm also going to figure out here, this turn is way too sharp, so it's always okay to are going to make mistakes while making this, so always make sure, try and fix this to the best of your ability, make sure you get a more cohesive track. We have now finished the outline of the main track, and it is time to start outlining it with the Sharpie, a paint pen. Either one really works, just so I can see the lines further into the project, painting so all this doesn't go to waste. And the outline of our track is done. It's time to start painting the limited spots that are going to be painted. First one up is the infield here, and for this I wanted to try and make a gradient with the brown to make it look like it was more dirty, closer to the edges of the track. It didn't really quite pan out originally, but later I did come back in and fix it. And then I realized this was a very nice paint color with this brown and gray. It really looked like there was dirt on the racetrack, so I later went in with that on all the other sides, on all the other roads around the track. Now that all the painting on the actual track itself is done, it's time to add the grass mat in a couple of places. This is just some extra grass mat I had left over from my Charlotte track that I made right before this, and I really wanted to make sure that this back path, this is going to be a forest eventually, really looked like that was a rocky road, like it was surrounded by rocks. I wanted to give it that feel. So you can see with the paint there, I made it really unstraight, you could say, with a lot of bumps and curves, and I did the same with the grass, and I think it really turned out really cool. Now that we have all the preliminary surface laying on the track, I took out these foam board pieces that I cut out. This is just a piece of foam board that I got from Hobby Lobby for like $3 or something. And I cut these, and I made sure to cut these walls out a lot taller than I normally would. So when the dirt is in there, it really will make it seem like it's about the same height without the dirt overflowing over the walls. Now that we're almost done with the walls, it is time to put the dirt on. But there's just one problem. Alright, pause the time lapse. This is dirt. It's dirt. I collected it. I'm outside organically. I touched grass. I can't believe it. How does this go on here and look good? So he's given me an answer, but... This feels risky. There's actually dirt on a track. What? I mean, sure. Cue the time lapse. So I had absolutely no clue how I was going to put this on the track and make it look like a dirt track. So luckily, I was able to ask Mr. Crab and he was willing to reply and tell me how he did it, because otherwise I would have been pretty lost. But you see, from now on we're just going to be putting on a ton of dirt, and you can also see me earlier just taking a glass, I think it was, and rolling it across the track to make it as flat as possible. I did make a bit of a mistake with this. I rolled it down, I packed it down too much and I kept wetting it when I needed to let it dry instead, but the result still turned out pretty fire. So all the dirt is now laid on, but it was really missing something. The walls were too white. It just looked not like a dirt track. It looked like dirt was placed artificially there instead of being ingrained into the surface like it was meant to be there. So I took a little paintbrush, dabbed a lot of the paint off, and just went around with a bit of brown paint around the edges to kind of just dirty up the edges of the walls of the track and make it from that pristine white color to a lot more duller, a lot dirtier, grittier type of brown, and I think that really added so much detail to the track. And all the logos of the track are on and dirtied up. It is time to work on the first part of the outside of the track. My big goal with this track was to make a very bowl-shaped track with everything sloping downwards to the dirt in the middle like it is in real life. They call it the chili bowl. All the dirt tracks, it just feels so ingrained, nestled in there, and I really wanted to capsulate that feel with this track right here. So you can see me laying down a lot of foam pieces that I cut out. I'm going to soon cut out some cardboard here and just kind of put it on top, and this took a lot of effort, but in the end, it looked really, really cool. now that the turn 1 terrace was done, it was time to spruce it up, make it look a lot better, make it look like it was actually lived on, sat in. And today we're going to be using, this is going to be the first time I'm going to be using this trick, and you can see me using this a lot. You can see all this, this is just cardboard. I peeled the top layer off, and now I'm painting it gray to imitate stands. As when you peel off that top layer of cardboard, it gives that really rigid feel, and just looks like actual grandstands if you paint it white. Sorry, not white, gray. And I used this technique so many times, probably too many times during the making of this video. But man, does it work well. I'm super happy with the way these came up, and it just looks so cool. So here I'm going to be paint penning, take my white paint pen, and just adding some little rows to make it look like there's rows to walk up and down from. I think this was a very good touch to add. Now that those few bleachers are done, it is time to make all those lawn chairs that are just sitting all around that turns 1 and 2 terrace. I imagine it would be such a fun place to watch a race unfold at, and to see and do this and to create this effect. We're gonna be taking just the same exact cardboard, and we're gonna use a paint pen to paint it blue, paint it red, and paint it white to just give it that feel like there's lawn chairs scattered around the track, around the terrace, I should say. And it really turned out so cool. I'm so happy with how this came out, and definitely something I'd recommend for future tracks. And with just a few final touches, the front terrace is done. First section out of really 4 that need to be cleared outside the track, and the second one we're going to work on is this main grandstand in front of the track. I did end up making it a bit big, but once again we're going to be using the same old cardboard trick. Just going to take it, measuring it, and I'm going to eventually use some styrofoam in the back to hold them all together, and paint it gray, put some white aisles on it, and put a white roof on it, stack it all together. It's going to look pretty dope. now that I've put the roof on after an arduous struggle, it is time to put these little banners that I've made and printed out in PowerPoint on the track, because they had them in real life and it looks really cool, so I wanted to recreate them, and they really ended up adding so much to this track. Now, as we cut to this next little area right here, the grandstands are complete, and for some reason the architects at this track wanted to add this little hump here. The grandstands went too far over, and this is just another little terrace for people to hang out on, but this was a royal pain to decorate, to figure out how to make work, and so it was not fun to make this little part work, but it did end up looking really cool in the end. So we're going to use the same exact trick we used for the terrace, just some foam board and some cardboard, and then we're going to end up painting it green on the top, and it's going to end up looking pretty cool. Another really cool feature about this track in real life are these red walls, this like siding metal thing that goes across all the edges as a back, and it really provided a really nice pop and color. So I wanted to recreate it, and it ended up looking so dope in its current state. Definitely worth the pain it was to put it there. And as we finish up with turns 4, I guess that is, we're gonna head over to turns number 3. This is a very similar terrace to the one in 1 and 2. We're gonna do the same exact technique: some cardboard, some foam board, hot glue it all together, and add some lawn chairs on top. It is now time for the cornerstone of the turns 3 and 4 terrace area on the outside. To make it really feel like a bowl, you need to build the big building that is there in real life. I don't know what the building's for, but it's white with a couple windows, and it looks pretty cool. It's a very kind of like ominous looming over it, and that was really cool to try and make and figure out. And so I just cut out some foam board, cut out some more cardboard, and glued it all together, and it looked really good. It is now time to finally bring this track together with some catch fencing on the outside. I decided if I was going to go this far out to try and get all these details, I might as well add it. So I got a sheet off Amazon, cut it up with my scissors, and hot glued it to the back of the walls, and it ended up looking really good. It is now time for the final push, the details that can make or break a track. For me, these are the billboards right here in the infield, the trees all around the track. These small things add such a difference at the end of the day. So for these billboards right here, just pruned off some logos and hot glued them to the back of the foam thing I cut out, put them in the ground, and then I took out my collection of trees that I've amassed over the years and hot glued them down everywhere to make that forest in the back. And then I'm going to add some stuff in the middle of the track, a little bit of an infield, and then it is done. And just like that, this arduous journey is completed. We're gonna add this to our finish line, and then let's take a look at the final results. And just like that, it is done. This 40-minute journey comes to an end. If you're new here and enjoyed this video, you made it to the end, you probably enjoyed it. Please consider subscribing to my channel. It does help me out a lot. I put a lot of effort in these videos, as hopefully you can tell. If you enjoyed this, I am sure you'll enjoy the races I made in this track. They're going to be on the right of your screen. Have a great day, everyone.